Oh gosh, this is our second episode. What?
What? The intro.
The intro? What's our intro? I remember. I made it up. Hey everybody, I'm Caleb.
And I'm Haley.
And I'm having coffee with my ex.
It's never not gonna sound stupid.
People appreciate it. It's fine.
Wow.
So, thank you guys so much for tuning back in for the second episode and staying with us. We've had a lot of great responses, which we were very excited about.
It literally just went live today.
Yeah.
And we're already recording another one.
So you could say this is a takeoff success.
The self-funded takeoff success.
Haley and I were talking before the podcast. This table is dirty. If you're watching this, I'm so sorry. We were talking about how we keep expanding our Fitness Marshall empire. So dance videos, vlogs, tours, podcasts. But we always expand upward because we still do everything ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're not expanding outwards and like building our team because everything we expand into doesn't make money.
Oh my god.
But we keep thinking if we just add more to our plate, it'll work.
Yeah, something's gotta work.
I think this is what's gonna work. I heard that we make $15 per 2,000 listens.
That is, I mean, yeah, I'm ready to invest into myself a house. I'm gonna buy my dream car with that money.
What's your dream car?
A BMW M4 in like the pastel blue color.
BMW M4.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like you're for the planet.
It's fucking annoying.
Hey, don't get us that explicit logo on this podcast.
Okay,
my mom already texted me about it.
Oh my god. What coffee are we drinking today?
I am drinking, first of all, it's 5 p.m.
Yeah, it's late. We were supposed to start recording this at 3.
At 3. I'm drinking Kirkland, which is Costco's organic
the same one
blend.
as last time.
Yeah. When I run out, I'm gonna go to Pete's. I need water too. I feel like I'm about to break.
I'm drinking the Starbucks Yukon blend.
The organic one. I love that one.
It slaps pretty hard. Mm-hmm. Love a good homemade.
Slaps.
Love a good homemade cold brew. Well, what's up? What'd you do today?
What did I do today? Well, Haley and I earlier today, before we get into like what we're talking about, which I honestly don't even know because Haley has a whole spreadsheet planned of today. She did a bunch of research, so I'm very excited to dive in. But this morning, Haley and I went to the gym.
This morning, but meaning 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Well, I was on my way to the gym this morning, forgetting that Haley and I had planned to go together.
A dick is what he is.
She texts me and she's like, I cannot make it to the gym before noon today. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm glad she texted me because I forgot. So we ended up going at 1 o'clock, and I am not kidding you. This girl was vlogging the entire time.
Wait, that's literally not true.
Okay, you're right. When she wasn't vlogging, she was bitching. And whining. She was throwing a tantrum. She wanted to go lay down. I'm like, you're at the gym. If you don't say you want to lay down if you go to the gym.
I was just not feeling it today. I remember just like thinking, I'm so unmotivated today. Like, this is just not where I'm meant to be. Like, I did not want to be there at all.
And it showed. So we finally made it back, and it took 2.5 hours for me to put on concealer. And now we're here.
And so you're caught up. That's what we've done today.
Yeah.
Not much.
But what are we talking about today, Kaylee?
So annoying. So today I wanted to do a deep dive into diet trends because honestly, Caleb and I talk about nutrition and like diet trends.
I'm trying so hard not to set my coffee down. You can hear everything.
Caleb and I love to banter about diet trends and nutrition. We have completely different beliefs when it comes to what we eat. I feel like they're a little bit more like the same now.
Ever since you stopped being a vegan.
Oh my god! But I feel like I still have some polarizing ideas about what works for our body. Because not one thing is going to work for everyone. That's just fact.
Is it?
Oh my god! See, and there it is. And there it is.
What's your first thing to throw at me?
Well, first I want to get into how you eat. How do you...
Oh, that's fun. Let's both talk about our backstories with eating. Because I think that's important. So, I always had a really bad relationship with food. Younger, I was like overweight. And so I would always overeat. I would eat so much. I would drink so much water because my parents like weren't about me having pop.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really got into that. But I just ate a high quantity of food. Mm-hmm. And so I have a vivid memory of like going to Subway with my parents. And we would
Not Subway.
always order like footlongs or 6 inches. And everyone would get like mayonnaise on their submarine sandwich. And when I would
submarine sandwich, what the fuck did you call it that?
And when I would order my sub and order mayo, my mom said, "No, give him light mayo."
Bad. That is so mean.
But I was a big boy, so like she was trying to help. But I just remember I got into like calorie restriction because of that. I started to lose weight in high school just because I was growing up, but I thought it might be because I needed to restrict calories, so I started to just eat terrible food, but just try to only eat like 1,400 calories a day or something. And then in college is when I really started to learn more. I was taking classes, and I feel like just as you grow up, your palate changes and your taste changes. So food started to be something for me that I learned didn't have to be so awful and restrictive. And I started to learn like how to prepare food and why certain foods are good and what's not good, because at first it was just so difficult and you really don't know what the truth is because there's so much out there.
There's so much out there, and it seems that none of it is factual.
Right. What about you?
I feel like I kind of grew up the same way of like being kind of overweight as a child, overeating, not really knowing how, like, why I would put certain foods in my body. Like, I didn't eat to live.
Right.
I lived to eat. So, yeah, I feel like...
And also, that's where we're from.
Oh, yeah, it's just very much like a Midwestern, like, thing. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know.
I feel like when you can tell your story. I just remember when you talked about, like, when you stopped eating meat, your grandma was like...
Oh my God, up in arms.
How dare you not eat a hamburger?
She would literally be like, well, my body's just not meant for that. Like, if I didn't eat meat, I'd die. But yeah, so I kind of grew up in the same way, and I feel like it kind of followed me, like, through to, like, college, and, like, I've always had a really unhealthy relationship with food. And I feel like in college it only was like exacerbated by the fact that I was too poor to eat.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, so I just pretty much stopped eating for a while. And I lost a lot of weight, but not in a good way. I looked sickly.
That was not a good time.
It wasn't a good time for me, but I feel like from
You were like snatched and hollow.
it was not cute. It was really not cute. But and then from there, I immediately went vegan. And I think that was kind of a way for me to just keep restricting myself. Actually, through being vegan, I found out a lot about food and like what I needed to eat to actually fuel my body. So it actually did the opposite, I feel. Like I started, even though like my diet was really restrictive, like I started to like get a better relationship with food, and I learned how to like cook, and I don't know, I just learned how to fuel my body.
I noticed that in you a lot because you were forced to learn like what do I need to put in my body, what is doing what, because when you eat meat it's much easier to just let Jesus take the wheel.
Right. And like when you're eating vegan, like if you don't get this and this and this, I was a little bit like obsessive about it, but like at least I was eating.
It was a learning time.
It was a very learning time for me. But I feel like now like I eat a very balanced diet. Like I don't feel that like such a scary relationship with food anymore. Like I feel pretty like obviously like there's times where like it gets a little bit hard just like from like a YouTube comment or something stupid, but like I feel like overall like I've grown leaps and bounds.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I thought it was interesting what you touched on with we're already off topic with like the being poor, like eating, because I feel like the whole mentality around food is a lot of times that people that don't have a lot feel like they can't have good food, or it's just not for them. Like eating clean is for people with money or the wealthy. And so I think there's a lot of that mentality, especially in the Midwest, people thinking that there's better things to spend money on than food.
Like investing in your health isn't like a priority.
Right. But there's also a lot of health issues back home too that people end up spending lots of money on. Hospital bills and things like that. Like, but it's just really hard to think about the future, especially when you're like a family like trying to feed your kids. Like we just gotta eat today. Yeah. So that's a whole other episode we can
Dear
go
God,
into.
yeah. Yeah, so I feel like mostly I pretty much eat like equal amounts of every macronutrient,
Yes.
I would say.
I think I do too. I think I try to always eat more protein and fat. I love fat. I try to stay away from like carbs and grains, but I don't.
So you don't eat equal amounts.
But no, but that's what. But you know how like when I say like, oh, I'm gonna be like on time somewhere, like I tell myself, it's kind of like that. I have whatever I tell myself, I know I'm gonna go over that. So I tell myself to restrict carbs, so I probably eat an equal amount of carbs.
Yeah.
Because I try to sneak like by myself, so I'll like eat really well or like only eat protein or fat.
You love eating well in front of people and like making everyone else feel bad.
No, but I don't even eat bad in front of myself. Like literally the second persona will like run into the kitchen, shove chips into my mouth like as fast as I can, and then I'll think that I didn't do it.
That is psychotic.
So no, but my current diet is trying to restrict. Before I would like restrict grains completely. There was a time in my life when I was like, I'm eating protein, fat, and you will not catch me eating a piece of bread.
I have never, and I will never do that.
It was, and I got kind of like sickly looking. I was muscular. I was like lean, but I'm much happier with my body now.
I probably was happier as an individual.
Yeah, because I allow myself to have bread and stuff. I try to only do it in the mornings, but if I'm out to dinner and like Cameron wants to go get pizza, like I'm going to have pizza.
Yeah. It's all a balance. Like you've got to be able to sustain whatever diet you're on. Like it has to be like a livable thing.
I think the biggest thing that I've learned over the years is that it's just about being conscious of what you're eating instead of like trying to follow a rule book or like getting so caught up in what you can and can't have. Just be conscious of what you are putting in your body and being like, oh, I put in a lot of bread earlier today, so let's maybe not put in a lot of bread for my next meal. Just, be conscious.
Yeah. Balance, man. Balance is key to everything. It's crazy.
Yes, it is. Like my, what's it called? Electrolyte balance right now is completely off because I'm dehydrated. And I need water so bad.
Why don't you go get some water?
Because there's a laptop beside me. I can't move.
You're hooked up to this.
I'm hooked and I'm cracked out on this coffee right now.
So cracked out.
So, I feel like my eyes are spinning.
No, like your eyes are moving faster than like...
I'm just trying to keep up, man.
Okay, all right. So I have a list here of some of the most popular diet trends of like the past couple of years. And one of the most popular ones I would say right now is keto.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about keto? Well, hold on. First, let me explain to everyone what keto is. If you deprive your body of its main source of energy, which is carbs, it goes into a state of ketosis where it burns fat stored in the body for fuel instead. During this process, byproducts called ketones are produced, which are then used by the body's muscles, tissues, and brain. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your hot take on keto?
Well, oh my God, I hate being the one to give hot takes because, like you said, everything works differently for everybody.
Yeah.
So let's say this does work for you, which it possibly could. Great. My thought for myself is absolutely not.
So first impression is a hard pass.
Here's the thing. I like to take pieces from things. So I like the idea of like eating some keto meals.
Like a high-fat meal, high-fat, high-protein.
Eating some keto snacks because I do like to eat more fat and protein than grains per se. So there are a lot of keto recipes that fit into my everyday diet easy. But I don't think that restricting your body of a macronutrient is something that applies to the general population.
Yeah.
I think there's always those specific cases. I think there was something with like maybe epilepsy.
Yeah,
or something.
I read that as well.
So if there's a case like that, sure, that's great. It's kind of like the whole gluten-free celiac thing. Mm-hmm. If you're not in that subgroup of the population,
there's no reason to
There's no reason.
Yeah.
Because here's what happens. People do it, and I've had friends that do it, and it works because keto is what you do for like movies. Yeah. It's like what Magic Mike does.
It's a very like short term.
It's going to give you results fast. You're going to drop weight. You're going to cut. You're going to look amazing.
Mostly the weight that you lose is water weight initially.
Yeah. And so you're going to drop a bunch, and you're going to be like, oh, this is amazing. Then you're going to plateau really fast. And not only are you going to plateau, eventually down the road, you're going to be like, oh, wow, it's really hard to live my entire life by this rule book. And then you're going to fall off the wagon And you're going to gain it all back. And what happens is when you do that and you gain it all back, you end up gaining more back than the last time. So every time you drop weight really fast and gain it back, we learned in my college nutrition class that your body kind of readjusts itself. So you're always going to gaining more weight back every time. So it's very dangerous to do these diets.
Yo-yoing between diets.
If it's going to give you fast results, it's probably bad for you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, so some things that I have researched today. So one of the cons, I have a couple cons here for keto, is that because of its high fat intake, it could potentially put your heart at risk. So you're eating lots of protein, lots of, fatty things. It's not necessarily the best for your heart, especially for like a lot of people aren't just going to be eating like lean meats. And like a lot of keto is like also like high dairy.
When the thing that frustrates me about keto, because I know people listening to this probably do keto and it works for them. Like Jerry. I think Jerry from St. Louis. Jerry from St. Louis. I know people who are doing keto. And it works.
Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry.
Okay, Jerry.
I was like,
I was thinking like Jerry, like a guy. I was thinking Jerry, the other Jerry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know she does keto. So I don't want anyone listening to this to be offended. Not keto. If it's working for your lifestyle, that's incredible. But when I see people doing keto and they're like, yeah, I'm doing keto, I'm sticking to it. I'm eating bacon and string cheese for every meal. And this is where the diet thing doesn't work, because I think that no matter what diet you're doing, the most important thing is that you're eating whole foods.
Yeah, like creating healthy eating habits. Like you can't just keep eating the same things that you want, like just like the things that fit in within like whatever diet you're on.
Yeah, because that's what it doesn't. Keto specifies, okay, just fat. But so yeah, technically you can eat string cheese, but string cheese is processed, has hormones in it, is not like a good whole food for your body to be eating. So you have to be smart about it, because there's so many like shortcuts around diets. Like you can be vegan and you can eat gummy bears.
We'll get there.
Okay, sorry.
We'll get there. Okay, another con of keto. He's hyped up. He's hyped up. Another con of keto. The whole thing with keto is that since it's like a newer diet, there's not a lot of long-term research that shows like whatever. From what evidence they have so far, there's a possibility of kidney damage, nutritional deficiencies, and side effects including constipation, dehydration, fatigue, and nausea with this diet, and that's from the Huffington Post. They also say...
She's got her sources.
I have my sources. But they do say some pros of it is that blood sugar levels have been shown to stabilize. And also, if you're not someone who works out a lot or works out at all, that might be a good diet for you, since you don't use as many carbs as someone who would be working out.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that.
And then
also I feel like that's another probably thing where people are like, oh yeah, I can do keto and not have to work out.
Right, but I think that obviously if you're not using as many like carbs, because it depends. There's some people who do. I'm not for sure actually how many grams of carbs you're allowed to have on keto like per day. Does it depend on like the person?
I just don't know how people with such busy lives. I feel like everyone's so busy. I just can't imagine having the time to count all those things.
No, I've done it and it's not fun. It's literally not fun. I also wanted to touch on Atkins and keto.
Because isn't it just repackaged?
So Atkins and keto are both low-carb diets that may benefit weight loss, diabetes management, and heart health. Their main difference is that you gradually increase your carb intake on Atkins while it remains very low on the keto diet, allowing your body to stay in ketosis and burn ketones for energy. And that's from Healthline.
Didn't the founder of Atkins die of...
Oh, I don't know. And
I think he died
He did die, but I don't know why.
I would think it was for sure like health related. I think it was... I don't know. I think it was obesity or diabetes or heart disease.
You better do a fact check on yourself. I better do a
fact check on myself. Can you do a fact check? Anyway.
Yeah. So, I mean, personally, I feel the same way as you about keto. I feel like if you are someone who's just trying to look good real quick for like a photo shoot or for a movie or like whatever, like I understand, or like you're trying to fit into your wedding dress, like yeah. Is it the smartest thing long term? No, but I feel like I understand it more short term than long term. But not even keto, just lessening the carb intake overall.
Yeah,
doesn't have to necessarily be like a whole ketosis thing. Mm-hmm. I've never done it. I doubt I'll ever even try it. There's this thing called the keto flu that would like take me out the game. Like I would be bitching.
Yeah.
I can't live without carbs. Yeah, I would just cry.
Yeah. life is more fun when you don't completely take out one thing.
It really is. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is juice cleanses.
Juice cleanses.
Have you ever done a juice cleanse?
No, I would never.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't want to say I would never. I don't want to knock it. I think that it's mostly marketing? Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. Do I think that your liver is made to detox your body? Yeah. So I don't think that you need to do a juice cleanse to like clear your body out. I mean, maybe you can do it. I don't know if it would harm you, but if you do it a lot, it definitely would harm you.
100%.
But like your liver, that's kind of like what your liver does. We have this awesome thing in our body that cleans out the toxins. Right. And unless you have like a deeply non-functioning liver, I think even in that situation, you would go to the doctor instead of drinking lemon juice. Yeah. Because at that point, you're too far gone anyways. Yeah. So...
yeah.
I think water is good.
Yeah. Have you heard of those people who doing like water fasting for like a week at a time?
No.
Oh my God. I watched this video of this guy who had like back problems and he literally drank only water for a week, which I don't know how you do that. Like I literally don't know how you do that.
People do.
And he said it cured his back.
Okay.
But then I also watched this other girl who did a water fasting thing and was like making it seem like the best thing she's ever done, and she had the best skin and she felt so like de-bloated and stuff. And then a year later she came out saying, actually no, that like fucked me up so bad I don't have periods anymore. So guys, just watch yourselves.
That's like people saying I cured my child's broken leg with lavender. Yeah.
Don't get me started on essential oils. Don't.
Okay, no, just to clarify, because again, I know, like, we don't give too many opinions, but like, since we are giving opinions, I'm not knocking essential oils. I'm just saying.
They can't cure a broken bone. I think that's fair to say. Okay, so this says about juice cleanses. When you remove solids from your diet, you decrease your thermic effect of food, aka the calories you burn from the process of digestion. So this can cause your metabolism to slow down in the long term. Obviously, if that's what happens, you're going to hinder your results of like losing weight if you do juice cleanses all the time. Yeah, and there was also a case of a woman whose juice cleanse might have caused irreversible brain damage. That's allegedly, but that's what's being like studied right now.
Yeah,
that would suck.
I'm sorry. I just don't think that's necessary. The food is food.
Yeah, food is food.
Unless you have a special medical reason for doing that.
I do like juice. I do like a good juice.
Drink juice.
Just drink it.
You don't have to drink only juice. Yeah.
Okay, so now.
And I mean, first of all, I am a sucker for like the lemon ginger shots or whatever.
Okay, I will go on record saying that ginger shots have changed my life.
I do love those. Do I think they're gonna cure me? No, but do they make me feel like? I think it's more of like a placebo effect, if anything. I'm sure there are like medical reasons, but I'm not going into it thinking like, oh, my cold's gonna get cured by this ginger shot.
Right. I think it's more of like a preventative measure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to get into the juicy things. So one of the last ones we're going to talk about, I have had personal experience, and you, I feel like, have had the personal experience with me. And that is vegan and vegetarianism. Mm-hmm. I was vegan for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like throughout that time, you ate a lot less meat.
Let me tell you what, when someone close to you is vegan, it not only affects them, it affects everyone around them.
It's true. Like, I had complete control over everything we ate.
We could not pick a restaurant unless it was...
Well, to be fair, Bria didn't eat meat either.
That's true. Which made it even more complicated. Because, like, we truly, like, our lives were ran by Bria and Haley's bellies. And we couldn't say anything because they had the moral high ground. Yeah,
that is true. That is true. So, yeah, I was vegan for 3 years. And I was, like, a diehard vegan. Like, I didn't, like, do any, like, extra... I mean, I was just, like, it's vegan or I'm not eating it.
Yep.
There's some vegans who are a little bit more, like, flexible in their diet, like they'll eat something here and there. Mm-hmm. And I got to that point eventually by like the end of the 3rd year.
Until you just shoved bacon in your mouth.
No, it was a chicken sandwich. Okay, so some pros of being vegan. It promotes weight loss by cutting out high-fat meat and dairy, which I feel like is true if you are doing veganism right, mm-hmm. I would say that when I was vegan, I ate a lot of vegetables. I ate a lot of beans.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
Lots
I did.
of beans.
And I can't even eat beans anymore. Like I feel like I hate
Speak your truth. Speak your truth.
I just came to a point where it just wasn't working for me anymore. I was so bloated all the time, and I was in so much pain, and my stomach was literally swollen, and I just had to stop. And I remember whenever like I came out as not being vegan anymore, someone was like, "Oh, so you're scared of being fat. That's the reason why you're gonna eat animals is because like you're scared of being fat." And I was like, "No, like I'm actually in pain."
I hate
the vegan
people.
community is different. I never found myself being that type of vegan that was like, be vegan or you're a bad person. Like I was very just like, this is what I'm doing, and like I'm gonna share what I do with other people, but like you can do what you want. Obviously that's how the world works. You can just do what you fucking want. But there's a lot of people in the vegan community, it's like this or you're going to hell.
You know what? I don't want to hate on, I mean, as much as I would never see myself being vegan, I think that it is something that you can sustain, just because I feel like there's so many options now. But is it healthy? I don't know. I think it might be for some people. I don't know. I saw Jillian Michaels' post. I know she's a very controversial person, but I think she's smart. And I just heard, she was talking about how we're made to eat meat. Like humans are omnivore. Is it
Omnivores?
Omnivores, yeah. We're made
Carnivores. Wait, omnivores is where you eat. Oh yeah, omnivores. Because we eat plants and
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're both, and I think our bodies are really. I personally believe that your body is supposed to eat meat, but I think that if you don't and it's working for you, that's great. Because I mean, I think more of the environmental impact and the moral impact is where I stand on that. I think health-wise, I don't think you could convince me that being vegan is healthier for you than eating meat, but I think the environmental impact and just how bad of shape the planet's in because of the mass producing of cows and pigs and chickens. I remember I was talking to my family and I was like, being vegan or eating eating less meat is good. And they were like, well, where are you going to put all the cows and chickens then running around? Like, that's what God put them here for. Oh. And I was trying to explain, like, no, there's not all these cows just naturally being produced. Like, we're literally breeding them and mass producing these animals to kill them. Yeah. So if we naturally are eating less meat, there's going to be less meat that has to be produced, less gas, less methane released into, the planet. And this is another episode, but y'all, like, we need to save the planet. So it is great. Like, personally, what I got from that experience with you was I was forced to eat less meat and eat alternatives and realized that I could eat a meal without meat. And that was really important for me. And I did start to eat less meat. And I think we should all do that. I don't think you need meat every meal. And also
being aware of where your meat and dairy comes from.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because, and that goes back to, like, the economical aspect of eating. When you eat poor quality meat, it's cheaper and easier to feed people with. But I think that's when you run into, that's where you could convince me that, like, vegan versus traditional is better, because I think when you're eating really bad quality meat, that's awful for your body.
Yeah. So according to a 2015 study, vegan diets are effective against hypertension, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular diseases. And by virtue of their plant-based diet that is low in saturated fats, vegans are less prone to obesity and have lower blood pressure and lower cholesterol.
Well, did you know that actually the cholesterol you eat in do you hear that siren? Wow. The cholesterol you eat meat doesn't affect your body's cholesterol. What affects your body's cholesterol is the saturated fat mainly that you eat.
Interesting.
Because I always thought that, like, eating eggs, it's like, oh, don't eat a lot of eggs because of the cholesterol. Like, that actually doesn't affect your body's cholesterol. It's very weird. But I just wonder if, I don't dispute those. I do think that vegan diets can do that, but I'm wondering if it's like, are these people eating really awful before and then switching to a vegan diet and learning more about food and being more conscious of what they're putting in their bodies? So that's like what happened to you. So, I don't want to knock it and say it doesn't work. I think it does probably work for some people, like especially vegetarian. I think anytime we can consume less animals, the better. But I do think the animals definitely have a place in our diet, as awful as, that is.
Some cons of a vegan diet is that since they're so restrictive, many first-timers may find that they're hungrier than usual and will reach for not-so-wise food like highly processed carbs, sugary, fatty foods, and even vegan-formulated snacks, which, guilty.
Oh my gosh. Vegan snacks are not
lit. Though I'm telling you what, those chicken tendies, those fake chicken tendies, they're so good. There was a point in time where I feel like I was eating way more soy than
Lots of soy.
Yeah, lots of soy.
You were a little edamame bean.
I really was, and it does not do my body well. And I feel like I was eating a lot more carbs. Before, not carbs in like a vegetable sense, just like a lot of carbs. Because when I first went vegan, I pretty much did it overnight, and they don't recommend you do that. Like, you wouldn't feed your dog new food overnight.
Yeah, you went vegan cold soy turkey.
Got him. So I was definitely craving a bunch of sugar.
I would also, people listening to this, I really want you guys to comment and let us know. Reach out to us on social media if you're just listening to this. But if you are following one of these diets that we're not all gung-ho about, let us know your experience.
Yeah.
'Cause I do think it is different for everybody. And
really
is. That's why you can't listen to something and go, oh, this is the Bible truth. This works for everybody. You have to experiment and figure out what is working for your body personally. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that you should go into any diet thinking that it's a magic trick.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, it's all the diets, what they have in common when they're successful is that you're eating healthy food. And by healthy, I mean whole foods, real foods.
Yeah.
I think the less processed, the better in all situations, and just eating a balanced diet in moderation.
Yeah. Okay, so one last thing for vegans, and this is important, I feel like, if you are a vegan or vegetarian. The diet does lack calcium, omega-3 fatty acids, B12, and folate acid. So if you are vegan or vegetarian and you're not taking those supplements, do so ASAP.
Yeah.
Because it's very important, and I would say if you can get a shot of some sort for those instead of taking actual supplements, your body will absorb them better. Because I feel like that's a big thing for everyone, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, because you can't get those things if it's not animal protein. Just worth mentioning. But the last diet, which I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about it, is intermittent fasting.
Well, that's not a diet. That's a lifestyle.
You're so annoying. You want to tell them about it?
I didn't know if you were going to bring this one up. Well, this is something that I do. There are a lot of variations of this diet. It's not something that's new. It's something that's been around forever, since, the caveman days.
I love how you're making this seem like it's ancient secret.
It's an ancient secret, yes. Well, here's the thing. So you can do intermittent fasting is when you aren't eating any calories, from my understanding, for an extended period of time between 12 and 16 hours, I think, is the accepted window.
Mm-hmm. 10 to 12.
It's something, and what's the word? Circadian rhythm?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically your belly, your body is using that time that you're not eating to digest food. You're eating basically for 12 hours. Like me, I do the 12-hour version. So you're eating for 12 hours and not eating for 12 hours, which is your fast. And the reason why the first meal you eat of the day called breakfast is called breakfast is because you're breaking your fast. Break fast.
Ooh, revolutionary.
Revolutionary. So that's why it's been around for so long, and you're just giving your body time to digest and kind of reboot, clean itself out. Like the whole juice cleanse thing, it's again like your body is made to do this itself. So if you're not feeding it for 12 hours, so I don't usually eat after 11, and so I'll usually not eat lunch until noon, and so I skip breakfast, so I give myself that time. And
I could never.
But I used to always wake up and be like, I have to eat, and then it just slowly I started not having to.
It's just a habit thing. Your body just gets used to it.
But I don't think a 12-hour one is too hard to do.
No,
because you're sleeping through most of it.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is, it depends what your goal is, because I don't think it attributes to weight loss very much, especially the 12-hour thing. It's more about I think
a lot of overall health benefits is what it's about.
Because you're cleaning your gut out. Once you start, I think it's hour 14 is when your body supercharges your youth production. And I don't know exactly what I think it's something to do with collagen. I'm not sure, but it's some kind of youth elixir, fountain of youth, where your body There's a lot of anti-aging benefits with the fast when you're doing it between 12 and 16 hours. I think there's a certain hour that it's like, this is when it happens. In general, it's good to give your body a break, because if it's constantly digesting, constantly working, then it doesn't have a time to clear out and kind of reset, which is, I feel like, opposite of what we were told growing up, because it's like, keep your metabolism going,
like little
eat
snacks
every
of the
2
day,
hours.
which I feel like that's kind of what I do. I feel like I eat like little meals throughout the day,
which is fine,
because I can't eat a lot at once.
as long as you're like still giving your body a break. I think that's something that it's really easy for anyone to implement, no matter what. I think there's a lot of benefits to it, and I mean, I have done it for like a year or two.
Okay, I'm gonna spit some facts before I give you my opinion. Okay, so some pros to it. It says, this is what NBC News says: restricting eating to daytime hours optimizes and extends your body's natural cleansing process, which may have other benefits such as improved alertness, attention, lower body-wide inflammation, a reduced risk of illness, and promoting a longer, healthier life. To optimize this process, you need at least 10 to 12 hours without food intake, and it also promotes eating more mindfully, like just like not eating like right before bed, or you know what I mean? Especially for people who like are late night snackers.
I would always do that.
Well, Business Insider says there's evidence that intermittent fasting can cause hair loss, anxiety, and stress, and also that. I'm just telling you.
I think it's funny because like now that there's one diet that like I'm kind of doing, I'm like, no, that's not true.
There's also some more concerns. In a year-long study, unhealthy LDL cholesterol had increased significantly after 12 months among the alternate fasting group in the study.
That is fascinating.
Yeah. Another thing is with intermittent fasting, I don't think that you have really a problem with this, is social implications of like, oh, like people like you can't eat past 6 and like everyone wants to go to dinner at like 7, whatever, 7:30. But there are definitely people like that.
Because those are the people who do like the 16-hour fast.
Which is another thing that I want to touch on, because I've seen some really unhealthy things being promoted of like people going like a day without eating, calling it intermittent fasting, or like just trying to make it to that 16-hour mark, and like it's literally starvation.
That's the
and
thing.
they're just like branding it as like they're just like giving it a name, and so it's like fine. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, like I had a big meal last night, so I'm gonna take the day and not eat.
That's ridiculous.
And I've seen that multiple times for people that I know.
I do know that like Jillian, Shaun T, other people in the health industry, a lot of them all do intermittent fasting, but it's not like something new they've done. It's just kind of something that's really always been a part of their lives, or at least I think for some of them. But I think it's pretty widely accepted now, so I don't know if that's just a new fad or phase, but I feel like for me, the 12-hour thing is easy. Like 12 or 13, I don't even get hungry until noon, so that's fine. I remember I tried to do the 16-hour, and I would like clock it, and I would have like an app that tracked it.
Yeah.
And I would be like trying to make it to the 15-hour mark or something. Yeah. And that's when I said, okay, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Do like what is manageable for you. Yeah. Like 12 hours isn't hard for me, so I'm going to do that. The minute I have to like dedicate my day to making it to that time, no. Yeah. There are more important things to do.
Yeah. I also want to say that I have tried intermittent fasting, and for me personally, I'm not like knocking it, but like for me personally, I couldn't find that. And I feel like kind of naturally, I don't know, every day is different for me. It all depends on my activity level. But like I feel like I couldn't eat enough calories in that like allotted amount of time. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I just couldn't. I didn't think I was eating enough calories, because I would only have time for like 2 meals. And like, once again, like I don't eat very much at a time.
You cannot eat much at a time at all.
So it's just not something that worked for me. I think that eating like smaller meals throughout the day is what works for me. So.
But do you not naturally, because you stop eating at like what time? 10?
Yeah. I would say that 12 hours isn't hard. But like I feel like during that time that I was trying it, you were trying 16. And so I was trying to do like a 10-hour window-ish, and I just didn't feel like that was like enough time. Yeah. I feel like I usually eat breakfast like around 9:30 to 10. And so I don't know.
I think it's also really helped me stop overeating, because that's something that I do. I've always done since I was a kid, is I eat too much. And it has helped me, not that I'm like sticking to a very specific thing, but I am mindful about not eating too much right before bed. And again, it's like if you want to eat before bed, that's fine. But that just kind of pushes my window back. So I'm like, I really don't want to eat past 10 or 11 because I know I want to eat like around noon. So it's kind of helps me be mindful, but yeah.
Yeah. Cute. That's all I have for that. We should get into the fan Q&A. That should be the jingle. Fan Q&A.
So let's end with these fan questions. Wait, first of all, let's see. Oh, Philip DeFranco just texted me. Not the real. It's not like.
Stop. I was about to freak the fuck out for you. I was like, what?
No, he's my favorite. I am on like his like texting list though, so I
get his text. Oh my god. See, YouTubers are people too.
They are. I'm such a fan. Okay, let's see if anyone responded to our Insta. If you're not following us on Instagram, I'm Coffee with My Ex.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, we just did the photo shoot for it yesterday, and the pictures are so slap.
So slap. Any hobbies outside of dance and fitness?
I love cooking and baking, but I also love playing the piano.
I know you do.
It's like my favorite thing, and it's like my newest skill. And so it's really fun to watch yourself like learn something from scratch, even like being 25, which sounds like I'm not that old, but like still at 25. It's hard to learn something like a new language.
I cannot imagine. I'm very proud of you and jealous because that is a lot of work and takes natural dexterity that I will never possess.
What about you, Kebab?
I don't. Do I have hobbies?
I don't know. What
I feel like the only time when I'm like not editing or like piddling around, which most of my life is piddling around.
Yeah.
I like to play Pokemon. I really do. I've had every Pokemon game since I was a child. I will have probably every Pokemon game until I die.
That is so funny.
And if you want my friend code, reach out.
I am a dud. I feel like my hobbies I try to make them like skills. I don't do anything like actually fun. Like I would love to just like sit down and play Sims. But like I feel like, why don't I like practice my like bread recipe? Because I feel like someday it's going to help me do something, but it's actually not. But in my mind, that's how I justify spending the time on it.
Okay, one more. What is it like living in LA? Do you miss Indiana?
I love living in LA. But I do miss Indiana because of the people. Mm-hmm. And I like seasons.
Yeah, you do. You psycho.
I love snow.
She loves snow. I don't miss Indiana. No, clearly.
It's literally so rude.
I'm sorry. No, I mean, my family's there, so I miss that. But I have wanted to be here since I can remember. I appreciate where I grew up. I'm very happy that I grew up there.
Yeah.
Because now I have two different experiences of the world, and I think that helps keep me grounded in reality and knowing that this life is not what people experience every day.
Right.
So I think that's very important. Yeah. But I have no plans to go back. But I think if there's anything I've learned in my 26 years on this planet is that you really have no idea what life is going to throw at you. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy here.
Yeah, I do love LA. It's
hate the rent. I hate how much it costs to live here.
I hate the rent, man.
I mean, is it enough? That's what people don't understand. They're like, but if it's that much, then just move back here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not at that point yet.
Yeah. I'm not there yet.
I'm not there yet.
Do you have an intention for this week, Caleb? It's a Monday. It's the time to set it.
My intention is to take a day off this week. That is my intention.
My intention is to get a damn massage.
I just want to take a day.
Yeah, we've been like grinding, I feel. We've done a lot in the past week. We shot, we edited, podcast.
I want to figure out how we can do less.
I love how like our last intention was like how to be more productive, and now we're like, never mind. We never fucking mind. This sucks.
Someone commented the other day, and they were like, "How do you?" So because they saw we were doing the podcast, and they said, "How are you making YouTube videos, going on tour, having a vlog channel, doing sweat sessions, doing strength workouts, keeping up with your social media, and making a podcast?" And I said, "That's a great question.
I've got to give it to God.
Gotta give it to God."
All right, that's it for this podcast.
And if you're out there and you want to edit anything for us, let us know.
For free.
For free. You can get paid the same that we do.
I'm dead. Yeah, if you're not following our Instagram, make sure you're following us on @coffeewithmyex, and then the Fitness Marshal and Haley Jordan 12. So follow all three of those right now. Right now.
We're not ending this podcast until we have confirmation.
Let's cheers, buddy.
Let's cheers. This has been a nice coffee date with you.
It is now that it's 6 o'clock.
We're drinking coffee at
I'm ready
6 p.m.
I'm ready for a vodka.
Haley,
soda.
you're leaving my house.
No, we're making dinner. Cheers.
Coffee with my ex.
That sounded really good.